The Leafs, all done. They failed to get out of the first round for the 6th straight season, losing Game 7 at home, 2-1 to Tampa Bay to continue their futility. 2004, last time they got out of the first round. How about this deadline pickup? Nick Paul, man. You know, we talk about guys that maybe flew under the radar. This guy comes out, Game 7 hero, absolute fucking beast this game, gets it done. Biz, I know you're a little sad, but we'll go to you first on this one.
How the fuck did he score that second goal like that?
Sorcery.
It was just a great play to hand-eye and kick that friggin' puck up to himself after the poke check. It was phenomenal.
I tell you what, man. A great performance by the Leafs. They fought their fucking dicks off. Why are you laughing? You don't agree?
I agree actually 100% with that, but that being the take is just like, you fucking lost, dude. Like, it was a great effort, yeah, but you lost again.
Going back to Game 6, I don't want to make excuses, but I think they got completely fucking hosed on that call to the high stick of foot when it ended up hitting his shoulder, and then he sold it. So they go down 5-on-4. And then, in my opinion, that Kerfoot one, when I think it was Hedman, ends up lifting his stick, and then it gets us, and then it ends up getting him in the head. They go down 5-on-3. They have that game wrapped up. They're up 3-2. You put fucking Tampa Bay on a 5-on-3 power play. You know it's a guaranteed goal. Kucherov gets it. He's fucking pretty much invisible the entire series. Yeah, did he get his points? But he was not the Kucherov of the past. I don't know if he's got a soft tissue injury. Some people are saying abdomen. I thought they got completely hosed, but Memes called it. He said they're going to win Game 5 and then they're going to lose Game 6 and Game 7. I thought the big guys looked good in Game 7. They poured their heart out. 17 shots in the third period to make that push. I don't know what else to fucking say. Take it over first, and then I'll come back after and summarize what I want to say about the rest of the team. I'm a little bit flustered right now. I didn't know you were going to come chirping in that hard out of the gate.
Oh, you didn't think I was going to come in chirping hard? You fucking all year you guaranteed they were going to win after guaranteeing.
Well, they got the worst fucking draw possible.
Oh, here goes the draw. Understandably, the draw sucked. I'll say this about the Leafs. They played a hell of a series, and it was not the same as the other years. Like, there was no choke. They played awesome. They played balls to the wall. But what they witnessed and what they dealt with was a true championship team. And you saw Tampa and the ability to lock it down. They locked it down, dude. Game 7. Have you ever seen a team block more shots than Tampa in the third period of Game 7? It was a textbook execution from a championship caliber, 2-time cup champ team on how to finish off a series. And the Rangers won. Good for Avery and fucking Rangers fans and Shesterkin. But Andrei Vasilevsky continues to remind everyone there is no one else like him.
Best big game goalie maybe ever.
Dude, there's like a feeling when he gets in a groove, there's a feeling you're like, I don't think anything's getting by him. You know what I'm saying? Watching the games with him, and he's so big and everything all of a sudden it's just sucking it in, no rebounds. So, I mean, the Leafs, like I said, did a great job, but when you see a true Stanley Cup champion finish off a series the way they did on the road in Game 7, that's why you're just reminded there's a difference between a really good, some even say a great Maple Leafs team. Man, they would have fucking won a lot of first-round series against a lot of different opponents. They would have waxed Boston. They would have waxed Carolina, I think. They would have waxed Washington. I mean, it was a tough draw. But you saw the difference between a true elite champion and the Toronto Maple Leafs in Game 7. That was it. And when you look at the series and the season, I said on Twitter, I actually think you're crazy if you get rid of Keefe and Dubas. I think you got to run it back. And obviously there's got to be a couple changes. Tavares stepped the fuck up in Game 6. He was probably the best player on the ice. Game 7, he kind of got listen, I thought that was a pick on Hull. I thought that's a penalty. A lot of people didn't. I don't know if that's Leafs homers.
I think if he would have stopped 2 feet shorter than that, he wouldn't have got called for it.
So if he hadn't run into him physically, but just kind of stopped in a lane?
100%. He just went a little bit too far, and it was too obvious of a pick, and it was a call. It had to be a call. And as a Leaf fan, I completely agree with you.
Okay, so that all being said, I don't think you do much. I brought up Tavares because it was, that's a tough series, the first 5 games for him, right? You know, to make that much money and be the captain, it's just that's not good enough. But then he stepped it up. But when you look at next season, Nylander was phenomenal, especially at certain moments later in the series. I thought he was their biggest threat late in Game 7 at times to maybe tie it up. But I don't know. You maybe almost have to try to move somebody. One deal, but not Matthews, not Marner, not Riley. Campbell's a hell of a goalie. The coach is a fucking good coach. The team's good. I don't know if they'll get to the first round and blow it next year, probably. But that team is good enough this year after witnessing what I saw to not blow this thing up. I'll say that.
Yeah, if there's one thing that really let them down, it was the power play. It didn't.
Yeah, and that was the best in the league all year.
It was the best in the league all year, and they just couldn't execute specifically in that Game 7. As far as changes to be made, I agree with you. I think they should let this team run it back one more time. You can't really make any big changes unless you get rid of Nylander. That's the only difference that you could probably make in the offseason. Now, I was in Tockett's room watching the Calgary-Dallas game, and he was reading online. He saw something like Islanders looking into getting Nylander. Now, to me, the biggest issue for the Toronto Maple Leafs is homegrown talent on the back end. I don't think you could be paying guys like TJ Brody and some of these guys on the back end what they're making for the impact. And you see these other organizations, and they're able to draft and develop and have these young stud defensemen on entry-level deals who can make up for maybe that money that you're overpaying these top guys. And you said it, Tavares, like, yeah, he had a strong ending to the series, and I'm really proud of the way that he came around and battled through that, Game 5. I don't want to say he got benched, but he played under 14 minutes.
Yeah, that's a benching.
And buddy, when you're relying on a guy who you're paying $11 million to, who's your leader, and you're going against the former champs, like, you can't have a game off. So, and you talk about Nylander and how strong he was. And, sometimes we get a little bit short-sighted of, well, fucking where was he more so in the early games? And, they end up allowing to force Game 7, and then who knows? And then you run into Vasilevsky, like you said, 17 shots he faced in that third period. He was like a wall. And I thought Matthews had a very, very strong series. You saw him bring his game to a different level, not only during the season, but in playoffs with him throwing the weight around. And you go back to the MVP conversation, and then you see what McDavid did in those final 2 games for Edmonton. It's like, when you're the MVP and you're the best player in your league, you should be able to tell the boys, hey, hop on and get the job done. And I know he had that assist over to Riley in Game 7. It's just like, I mean, to get 1 goal, it's just like, who I guess, who do you post the blame to, right? Not Jack Campbell. He only let in 2. He gave you a chance to win. He made some big stops and put you guys in an opportunity to get the job done. He played great. He went to head to head with Vasilevsky. So it's hard for me to stand up here and rag on the boys. And yeah, was I wrong? Was I a fucking moron for guaranteeing them and then chirping people online after Game 1 thinking they were going to knock off the champs? Yeah, but I just can't be disappointed in their effort. I just really don't know where they go.
No, their effort was there.
It was there. And then Keefe said afterward, he said, we got their respect in the handshake line. I know he was the butt of the joke online for saying that, but all in all, guys, the fact that Tampa was able to do it, not only after going through 2 crazy runs, but they lose point in the first period. I don't know how banged up he is going to be moving forward. Kucherov's obviously not himself. Sergachev didn't look like himself. But despite all that, you got to shift the focus. And as I said on the TNT broadcast, Julien Brisebois, he had to go replenish the third line. He went out and got Hagel, who I didn't think had a very strong performance in the first round, but Nick Paul, you go sometimes and find that guy where, he was playing in Ottawa. He didn't really have that playoff experience, but he had a lot of gas in the tank. And in a big moment, an unsung hero came up to play, and he fucking gets 2 big ones in Toronto and ends the fucking Leafs season.
Before I get Merle's opinion, I want to just say Kucherov looked horrendous. Series. Horrendous. I thought Hedman was great. Vasilevsky is what he is. I don't know if they could beat Florida without Braden Point. Braden fucking Point is the balls. That guy is so good at every single aspect of the game. He's a motor. It never stops. It's nonstop energy, winning battles. Doesn't matter how small he is. Doesn't matter how overmatched he is against certain defenders and centers. The guy is literally born for playoff hockey. And to see that injury, I mean, the fact he even came back for a shift was a good thing. I thought he might have broke his femur at one point, the way he was getting off the ice. But I just wanted to shout out and to get that the game winner in game 6 in overtime. Like, he is just that dude, Braden Point.
Before we throw it over to Murls, can you at least admit that high stick call was bullshit on Foot?
No,
he didn't fucking get his head wet. He got his shoulder with his stick.
He sold.
You saw the replay, and then he sold it.
I understand, but Biz, here's my thing. When the head snaps back and the stick's even anywhere in the area, it's tough for refs, man. You see a stick up here and you see a head come back. It's just like, that's the game. It's always been that way. Yes. Slowing it down, that is a bullshit call. But I understand full-time, real-time sitting there. You see a stick in the general vicinity of someone's head and you see their head snap back. It's like always getting called. Always. It's not right, but it always happens.
Burles, what do you got?
Hey, it's first time as a Leafs follower. I was happy to join the ride, but it wasn't great. But they should be proud that they scored 1 goal in the final game. Because listen to these Vasilevsky stats, his last 5 series clinching games. 2020 Cup, 2-0. First round last year, 4-0. Second round, 2-0. Islanders 1-0, and then he won the Cup 1-0 against the Canadians, which we had a Barstool boost that he would win in a shutout.
The guy's a freak.
He's a freak. And then my favorite thing of the whole thing, our whole season has been about Paul Bissonnette and the Toronto Maple Leafs. And doesn't a guy named Paul score 2 goals and end the season? We should have been all over that as gamblers.
Merles.
I know
I can't say the word on the show.
I know I'm flustered here off the top, but I can't complain about the effort. I can't. I'm flabbergasted that they're out in the first round. I thought this year was the year. And RA, I don't know how you feel about things, but
I feel bad for Austin. I know we've got to know him a little bit with the show, and now him and Mana at 0-9. What is it right here? 0-9 in closeout games since they've been playing together. It was right there, man. But Vasilevsky was unbelievable. I know, beating the fucking same drum to death. 25 block shots what they had. That was incredible. You're not used to seeing guys lay out like that all over the place. Impressive as hell. The Toronto power play let them down 11% in the series. Can't get it done that way. A hell of a series, man. But you got to think, we'll get to Florida a little bit later, but you got to think Tampa Bay is going to be a little tenderized for the next round. But unreal series. Great stuff. I don't know if you guys want to move on to Edmonton or you had any final thoughts on this one.
Put a nail in the coffin.
Give Biz a little more morning time here. Well,
just last thing.
Sure.
Since 2004, the Leafs have the same amount of series wins as the Atlanta Thrashers. So we can move on to Edmonton.
Oof. Tough one.